So we're going to talk about The9, which is a Bitcoin miner out of China, and they've been kind of hustled all around the world after the Chinese Bitcoin mining ban that happened earlier this summer. Now they've signed a deal with Compute North, which is a hosting provider mostly based in North America, to provide up to 14,000 miners for hosting in their buildings across the US and Canada. This follows up on earlier stories for The9, where they've been kind of looking around the world for new places to put their miners. They signed a deal back in August for 100 megawatts in Kazakhstan, just to place a lot of their machines there. Well, the story kind of continues that Kazakhstan has some problems with Bitcoin mining as well. And it seems that The9 is continuing to look for new places to put its machines. Why does this matter? Well, Bitcoin's network strength is based on Bitcoin mining. And there's been a lot of machines moving out of China looking for places to rack. And it's been very difficult for them to do that. A lot of these Chinese mining conglomerates really haven't found space to put their Bitcoin mining operations back in business. And so we've seen network difficulty remain low, which means Bitcoin profits remain high. And that's why you've seen a lot of US and Canada-based Bitcoin miners doing really well on public markets this year, because they don't have a lot of competition from the incumbent Chinese class. So kind of like a lot of geopolitical stories kind of tying up into this one. But it's also a crypto story. Zach, I want to throw this one to you. We've talked a lot about Chinese Bitcoin mining bans since June. That's been a huge story, obviously. But this just seems to be continuing.
It does. It does seem to be continuing. And again, I mean, we've said it before, but it's really remarkable how quickly this has happened, where North America has suddenly become a leading force in Bitcoin mining, when historically China had led by a wide margin. So to me, when I see stories like this, I just think about how crazy these markets operate, right? There's like, these are pure markets in which people are sort of moving around to wherever suits their interest best. And I think we see that with Bitcoin mining. And in this case, we see it with The9. So the geopolitical stuff is certainly interesting. But again, this is a global market in which people are trying to situate their operations wherever they can find the best prices to make sure that their mining margins remain strong. And I would assume that The9 ended up in the US for that reason. So, yeah, it's pretty stunning, actually, after seeing, China really lead the Bitcoin mining conversation for a number of years, how quickly North America has emerged in the wake of that crackdown. So another little signal in that ongoing story for me on this one. But yeah, I'll toss it down to Naomi.
It's interesting because if you look at the difficulty, if you look at the hash rate rather of Bitcoin, it's almost back to where it was right before the China ban. Like it's only just below there. So like, although there was a giant crash, it just went straight back up and we're almost back to where it was before. It's fascinating how quickly, these companies can actually reposition themselves, and how, quickly everything just kind of adjusted. And I guess, that's markets working for you. If there's money to be made, people are going to go out of their way to make sure that they get set up. What's interesting about North America is what's going on in Texas, because they have this free market in energy, which is really interesting to watch. So they have something called ERCOT, which allows you to trade your electricity. So you could buy like bulk electricity, and then if you don't use it, you could sell it back into the grid. And, if that if that power is demanded highly, then you might make more money actually selling it back to the grid than using it for your mining operation. So it's like a very interesting place for miners at the moment, because miners are so granular in how much electricity they use, and they can just like switch off specific machines and choose exactly how much power they want to be using according to how much money they're going to make and how much electricity costs. So I wonder if what's going on in Texas and the fact that so many mining companies have moved there is actually going to inspire other places to start to deregulate the energy industry and figure out better mechanisms for it, because the grid is it's a miracle. It's a wonder of human invention, but it's just a shame that in most places it's really burdened by so much bureaucracy that's unnecessarily there. It is interesting to see these, also different energy selling techniques based on blockchain technology as well. They're popping up and becoming more common. But Will, I'll throw back to you because you know a lot more about this than I do.
Yeah, no, I like the points that you're kind of pulling on. So I'm going to keep touching on that thread there. I think just to zoom out for the audience, Bitcoin mining can be really confusing. But a good way of understanding it is this is just like energy consumption, and Bitcoin mining goes for the cheapest and the freest places to find energy. It's almost like its own independent energy market. And that's a huge storyline for the global economy right now, because there's been a big crash in energy markets around the globe. Germany's been having a lot of problems with getting natural gas. Russia's been turning off the taps to a lot of its partners throughout that region, the old Soviet bloc. The US has been asking OPEC to turn on the taps for more oil. And you can see how like those energy markets play into Bitcoin mining, and Bitcoin mining almost becomes like this little like case study of how energy markets work, because everyone's looking for energy, everyone's looking for cheap energy, while the rest of the globe is struggling to create energy. And there's definitely a conflict there and a story to continue playing out.